What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry there was no new video this week, but I guess I'm doing one now. It's just, I had to finish the whole moving process and mostly I had to really focus on getting merch rolled out because merch is back. You can go to GradySmithShop.com right now and that's gonna be the new kind of static landing page for merch. I've spent the last few months trying to figure out how to get merch back, and it's back. It's all screen printed. It's all on Bella canvas tees. The quality is amazing. The shipping will be tracked. There is international shipping available, but it can be pricey, fair warning. The Thicket shirt is back.
Pop it. Twist it. Pull it.
Somehow it's kind of taken on a deeper meaning as a catchphrase I never knew I had, but people started saying, Grady, you use Thicket in a lot of videos, and then it just kind of snowballed from there, and at this point I feel like it's like a rallying cry for I like independent country music. We're also bringing back It's Okay to Think About Country Music, complete with a Thinker Stack Shoe Cowboy. All these shirts have a little back stamp on them, kind of like small. I couldn't bring myself to put my name on the front. This was the old color of that shirt. This is the new color. So you can see it's a lot more of like a brick kind of canyon-y color. I think it's called Heather Mauve. Two other shirts are coming to the shop. We got my favorite song basically that I jammed all of 2020 was Unapologetically Country as Hell. And here we have somewhat apologetically suburban as hell, because that's what I am, you know. I'm just a little boy in the suburbs that vibes a lot more with a lot of really country music. That color is called Heather Emerald. And then as a little tribute to this dude, which has been in all my backgrounds while I've been on YouTube, we got Wolfie as a T, Howlin' at the Moon. Guys, shirts like this, I've learned in the screen printing process, having a million different shades of green, it's expensive. So that shirt's cool. That's on Heather Navy. And then we have a slate color as well if you want something a little bit lighter. They're all unisex. I would say like they're fairly standard shirt sizing, but they're going to be a slightly more slim cut. So that's just that on that. GradySmithShop.com. And yeah, I have merch. I'm very, very excited about it. Okay, since we are about halfway through the year, I thought we could do a quick check-in of what has been the best country music of 2021 so far. I think this year has had a lot of like really good music, a little bit of really great music, and honestly not much just like straight up bad music. When I went to make a list of like what are the albums I've heard this year that are just bad, Florida Georgia Line's Life Rolls On was the only one I could really think of that fit that description. I got a new truck, I got a new ride. And I must say, although I have not reviewed it yet, and it will be soon, Kelley really turned that around with his album, which is just so pleasing, like a perfect summer album. The other one I've been told is really bad, but I haven't heard it, is Brett Young's new album. I just wasn't that interested. There's a few albums that I've just like completely missed. Sometimes I just felt like, oh, I got behind and they passed me by, but like Blake Shelton's album I haven't listened to in full. And then there's some like kind of independent country ones like Red Shahan and John R. Miller, Blackberry Smoke, The Steel Woods, where I'm just like I can't listen to everything, and I know I need to. But as far as what I have heard and did love, these are kind of the ones that immediately came to mind. First off, Carly Pearce's 29.
By fall or by winter, I'll barely remember how hard this.
You want a tight, concise album about kind of the bitterness and insecurity that results from a young divorce? Damn, this album is for you. I feel like Carly Pearce just strips back all of these layers of pop country and delivers these really heartfelt, sincere, sometimes wry, funny, and sometimes really sad songs. The title track, 29, is definitely gonna be one of my Song of the Year contenders. It's beautiful. You got that like glissando of the swelling strings in the middle of the chorus. It's so honest.
If youth is wasted on the young, if I wasted mine.
It's delivered beautifully. The whole thing just feels classy and sophisticated, and I think that's what I love about this album is Carly Pearce is someone whose reputation has always preceded her. You've always heard like, oh, she has this super big backstory of playing country at Dollywood, and you would see her performances on the Opry stage or something, and then I would sometimes wonder, like, where is that on her albums? These just feel like really generic pop country albums, and this one does not, and it really stood out for that reason to me. Triston Marez's self-titled album is another one that feels sophisticated to me. Just the sound of that album is so fun, but so rich and instrumental at the same time. I absolutely love it. It's got fun songs like Day Drinkin'. It's got really more kind of like plaintive ballads like Where the Neon Lies. It's just gorgeous. And he's got a killer voice too. And I'd say the same thing about the deluxe release of Hailey Whitters' album, The Dream. This album, with these 5 extra songs, is now just so tremendously good. You have that song, How Far Can It Go, with Trisha Yearwood, that just feels like a complete 90s throwback. And these last 3 albums that I've talked about, all 3 of them, what I love is that they sound amazing. You put it in your ears and you're just like, wow, the sound of this is so fun and compelling, but it's not that kind of like so far off the beaten path that your friend that doesn't really like independent music is gonna reject it. They'd be like, I actually like this a lot, and they'd be able to hear it's so much more than a trashy snap track beat. And spoiler alert, I haven't talked about this song yet, but Midland's new song, The Sunrise Tells the Story, is another great example of that in my book.
The moon shone on through thin.
But there are also albums with less natural mainstream appeal that I still adore. One of those is Cole Chaney's Mercy. The guys out of Appalachia, whether you're talking about Tyler Childers, whether you're talking about Charles Wesley Godwin, whether you're talking about Logan Halstead, or now Cole Chaney, they are just making some of the most stark, honest, cool music that there is.
Seems as soon as I get a foothold, I tumble back down the hill.
And I feel like this album captures the sense of place, of coal country, along with like youth and hope and looking out at the rest of the world beautifully. Plus, it's just like a fiddle showcase. I love Another Day in the Life and Silver Run. Oh, so pretty. I feel the same way about the Marfa tapes by Miranda, Lambert, John Randall, and Jack Ingram. That whole album, and it's just kind of lo-fi, Zach Bryan-esque sound where these just sound like little campfire songs recorded on the back of a truck, is so fun and so good. Well, maybe it's not fun, but it is so good. Sometimes it's really introspective and quiet on songs like Waxahachie, not Waxahachie, as many of you told me, or Ghost, and then other times you get really fun jams. Okay, there is some fun, like Geraldine, that's another favorite of mine. Man, that album just is really cool to me. And Miranda is a leader. She's always been a leader. That's why she's on the Miranda veranda behind me. It's cool to see someone at the top of their game try something really different. Much like her one-time collaborator Carrie Underwood did on this My Savior album, which to me is still an impressive body of work. I've always wanted to hear Carrie Underwood make a way truer country record, and I feel like we got it on this gospel album of hers. It's not going to be for everyone, because not everyone wants to hear a Christian Southern gospel record, but good gracious, these are really like old standards delivered amazingly and reverently, and I don't know, it just showcases both the instruments and Carrie's voice in such an appealing way. It's just laid back in a way her music usually isn't. Okay, I'm editing now. Look at this. Do you see this? This says Morgan Wade. Morgan Wade. I was supposed to talk about Morgan Wade, but her album's awesome. I have a full review of it up on the channel. Take Me Away has that kind of like indie rock, sexy rasp. That album's super impressive. I know people love it. It was supposed to be here, and now it is. Kind of down a step from that into this category of albums that I think are really good but aren't as tight or cohesive as those ones I just mentioned. I feel like you could throw Eric Church's Heart and Soul double album into that mix. It has a lot of high points, whether that's Heart on Fire or the soulful groove of Where I Want to Be, but it never quite gelled. Midland's The Sonic Ranch was such a vibe, just kind of warm and golden and sparkly. It's so lovely to hear songs like Worn Out Boots, even if the album could feel kind of a little bit low energy at times. Charlie Marie turned in a pretty terrific album with just some kind of cool different subject matter in her songs. I enjoyed, but honestly didn't love the comeback album from Alan Jackson. I'm sorry, I just made that whole video about him and he was so fun, and then this album I felt like just wasn't as fun as I was hoping he would be. And I also don't agree with his thesis that country music is gone right now. I feel like it's actually moving in a good direction. Like, I don't think it's a perfect album, but I think Thomas Rhett's Country Again is an admirable step into a more country direction. Same way I feel about Brian Kelley's Sunshine State of Mind, and those aren't good just because they sound more country. They're good because that more country sound was also with more heartfelt stories being told in their songs, just better word choices, cooler, more interesting musical choices. I'd say the same thing about Morgan Wallen's Dangerous, an album that I liked but didn't love and kind of felt like it was messy. And I don't love double albums in general. And that's going to go for you too, Cody Johnson, even though I love Cody Johnson. I feel like certain songs that really clicked to me at the beginning of the year, I'm like, yeah, those still are amazing in my mind. Sand in My Boots is kind of right there with 29, and Sunrise Tells the Story as some of my Song of the Year contenders. I also wrote a few other things down on here, like Colby Acuff. I'm still getting into that album, but I really like it. Lainey Wilson's album, I think I need to revisit. Ian Munsick's record, check out my review of that. I think it's called Mountain Time. That album stumped me, but man, as far as like fun music, I've had to just relent. I feel like it's a great version of what pop country can be. And then the only other thing I had written down on here was Taylor Swift's Fearless re-release, which it's a re-release, so it's kind of hard to treat it as a new album, but there was new music on it. But that album is classic for a reason. Taylor Swift kind of captures this youthful essence on it, and it's cool to hear her now, probably like twice as old as she was then, revisiting that headspace as a way better vocalist and a more prominent fiddle on Love Story. There's some newer stuff that's come out in the last month that I will get to in the next week, i.e. Flatland and Riley, and Brian in a more full way, and Gary Allen. Those are the only four I'm guaranteeing. I've released myself from the pressure to listen to all music, but anyway, those are just some of the things that I think are the best so far this year. I'm just one dude. I can't get to everything, so let me know what you guys think is some of the best country music of 2021 so far. And go check out the merch, Grady Smith Shop. You can check out the Patreon. There's all sorts of ways that I appreciate your support, and let's get this AC fixed, let's get this merch sold, and let's keep listening to good country music. Love y'all so much, and I'll see you soon.